Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 25 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we are set to take on Las Vegas for the first time in our F1 career. This is going to be an interesting one. This is a track I've always struggled at in the past in just previous F1 games, as Max Verstappen has an opportunity to lock up his 5th consecutive World Championship here this weekend. Just 3 weekends remain as you see the sights of the Las Vegas Strip here, as this could be an opportunity to turn things around after that embarrassing Brazilian Grand Prix. We ran absolutely terrible all weekend. The sprint, it actually was a little bit better than the Grand Prix, but we still got caught up in the chaos there as well. But we know one of the strengths of this Konnersport team has been tracks with long straightaways, the top speed tracks, and this, of course, is one of them. We got one super long straightaway on the strip, and then you get through the strip, and that, of course, curved front straightaway is quite lengthy itself on the way into turn 1, and then you got another one just after turn 2 that's a decent length as well. So this is going to be, I think, potentially the race of opportunity for Konnersport to really pounce and showcase something that we haven't shown all season long. Of course, we're not going to really show that here in practice, but I think qualifying there's a good chance this car shows up here, as you can see myself getting some track time, and overall was pretty happy with the way the car was driving right off the get-go. I wasn't really struggling a whole lot. Usually in F1 25 specifically, I'll struggle quite a bit out of the gate, but I was pretty seamlessly kind of getting used to this track here. Now, you see it if you watch my F1 co-op career mode with Matt212. I struggle so much with takeoff speed, and I always struggle in qualifying, and then I spend the races trying to make up for my lack of pace in qualifying compared to my teammates and, of course, co-streamer of Matt212. But practice was pretty good. And that takes us into, of course, Saturday night time to qualify here for the Vegas Grand Prix, and we're about to see if we can actually put the results up compared to what I am saying, as you see the beautiful sights and scenes of the cities surrounding the racetrack, including the, I forget what that building, the Sphere, that's what it's called, where, of course, they have those, concerts and stuff, and that'd be really cool to go to that building one day if I ever go to Las Vegas, but I don't really have any want to go to Las Vegas, to be completely honest with you, and especially not to the race because it would cost me several $1,000s. I could go to the NASCAR race in Las Vegas instead for a couple $100s and get to watch a better racing experience, so I think I know which one I'm taking up. But nonetheless, we're here on the racetrack now in Q1 looking for the speed in this Konnersport Butler Global machine, as we as well are going to very likely be back at this team next season. We're looking to sign an extension, actually. It's a bit late, but we're looking to sign a multi-year extension next episode, hopefully in Qatar, as we go P10, and it would put us P13 in Q1. But Aiden Jackson, top of the board. Max Verstappen out. Verstappen out in Q1 in the weekend where he tries to clinch the championship. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting to see how he is able to work his way through this grid of cars. Now, we come into Q2, and I was a bit concerned because I wasn't in the top 10 in Q1, and I felt like I'd set a pretty competitive lap for what the car was capable of, and my teammate of Aiden Jackson was top of the board. That's a big deal, and for me, I don't know what to expect, because throughout the course of this lap here, I was pretty happy again with how the lap was going. I didn't really feel like I left much at all on the table, and I kind of timed this Q2 wrong, and I only have enough time to get one proper lap in, and we're not quick enough. We're out. It's P11, and it would maintain P11. Meanwhile, Jackson was P3, Albon Bortoleto, Russell Antonelli, Lawson all out, and now we do have some grid penalties on the way that will move us forward, I reckon, but let's see where we start for the race.
Welcome to Las Vegas, and for Formula One, it's welcome back to Las Vegas. No longer do we race in the Caesars Palace car park. Tonight, the time is right to go racing in the street. Well, tonight we go racing around the bright lights of Las Vegas, 3.8 miles under the Nevada night sky and thousands of neon lights. There are landmarks everywhere you look, punctuating the 17 corners and 2 DRS zones. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Jackson, Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Behrman. Golden Boy, Norris, Russell, and Lewis Hamilton. Antonelli, Lawson, Carlos Sainz, and Tsunoda. Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Jack Doohan, and Lance Stroll. Verstappen, Albon, Bortoletto, and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Well, fortunately for us, several drivers take grid penalties as we'll be starting on the mediums, going onto the hards. We move well up inside the top 10, and this could completely change the outcome for us here as we're ready to roll in Vegas.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
No real strategy here tonight. Everybody's starting on the mediums. I expect we'll all be pitting around the same time as Leclerc and Piastri lead that front row.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
These grid penalties for Tsunoda, Hamilton, Norris moving us all forward is a game changer for us this weekend, because if we started P11, I think our chances of running up towards the top 5 are going to be a lot lower, but now we're P7 due to grid penalties, and we're going to have a very real opportunity to gain some track position here on this opening lap. Aiden Jackson up here in the top 3. How about Haas? Great representation there. Nico Hulkenberg in the Sauber. He's shown some real pace in Brazil, and he was able to bring it this weekend as well. There is some unexpected teams up here on the conversation tonight. Who's going to maintain position all race long? Let's find out. We're racing from Las Vegas now as Leclerc and Piastri. They're going to be wheel to wheel into turn 1. I've got Lando Norris up my inside. The 3 wide in front of us as I'm nearly into the back of the Frenchman of Esteban Ocon. Leclerc has held off Oscar Piastri so far. Jackson maintains 3rd. Hulkenberg 4th. Behrman, fellow Rookie of the Year contender. Big power slide now. Saves it as we head down the first short chute towards that next right-hander, and we're going to try and get the position away from fellow rookie of Ollie Behrman now as we're going to kind of run him out a little bit of a space there. I got a little bit too aggressive into the corner. You guys know I really preach leaving room for these guys when we're racing, because that's how racing is supposed to be, but certainly I didn't live up to that expectation right there. I certainly ran Ollie Behrman out of some room, and he backed out of it and let us just kind of have it. So we come straight to the Las Vegas Strip now, and we've got a side-by-side battle for the lead up there. It's actually Leclerc versus Piastri. Now, Oscar Piastri, what a miserable season it has been, and he finally turned things around with a win in Singapore, and he's been quite strong since that win. Obviously not going to save his season, but it is going to lead into some momentum next season now as Hulkenberg's going after Aiden Jackson into turn number 1. Everyone's just all over each other early on, and this is an opportunity for me specifically to take advantage, but Jackson stays ahead of Hulkenberg for now, but I don't think it's over because of DRS. Now Ollie Behrman's going to come back at me. I'm going to let him have the inside. Is he going to race me the same way I raced him? Piastri's actually taking the lead through the DRS zone as we're wheel to wheel with Behrman. We stay ahead in P6 now, and Oscar Piastri to the lead, and he was quickly trying to run away as now Jackson was to the actual right side of Charles Leclerc, and he was going for second, couldn't quite make it happen. And on the run into turn 1, Jackson was now under pressure from Esteban Ocon, who's got Hulkenberg just behind with myself as well. Hamilton has moved up to P7 behind me as Lando Norris has actually dropped back behind Ollie Behrman as well as we get that DRS again. We've got a good run on the kick Sauber. Hulkenberg, we nearly make contact right there. Jackson's dropped to 4th behind Ocon. We'll clear Hulkenberg and move ourselves up into the top 5. Great start here from this Las Vegas Grand Prix, and down the strip you see right there Ocon is now losing position. Maybe hold on, they both got to run on Charles Leclerc. They're 3 wide. This is perfect for us. We're going to be able to pounce, hopefully. Major contact, actually wing damage to Esteban Ocon's Haas. Jackson backs up, more contact. He drops back. We split all these guys to the inside. We're going to go from P5 to P2 runner-up position as Piastri is run away by over 3 seconds. You see the damage on Ocon's front wing. He is going to be slow. He's going to be off the pace. That is a heartbreaker because it was looking like that Haas came here this weekend to fight, and now the fight's already over for Ocon, who's going to be limping around this racetrack unless he pits immediately. But nonetheless, you look at the leaderboard, he was starting to lose, but they were battling so hard and being held up by Ocon in the early part of the lap that by the time we come to the Las Vegas Strip here on lap 6, I have opened up the gap by 4 seconds to Aiden Jackson. Hamilton into 4th, Leclerc drops to P5, and we were in really good shape after that all took place because look at this, to lap 8 already, we're kind of on an island of our own. We've got 4 seconds to my teammate behind us, but we've got 2 Konnersport cars on the podium. I said this was going to be an opportunity for us to do something this weekend. This is a track that really just plays into the strengths of this car in the first season for this brand new team, and here we are now making it actually happen. I didn't think it was going to happen after my performance in qualifying, but even more importantly, we are closing in on Oscar Piastri. We come to lap 10 and we've reeled him in by a second. We're now only 2.1 seconds back from the Australian driver, now below 2 seconds on lap 11, and suddenly I'm coming to grips with the fact that we might have a chance to win our first Grand Prix in Formula 1 as a rookie with a brand new 11th team on the grid. What a story that would be here as we continue to reel in the Australian sliding into the corner there, coming onto the strip, and we give up some time there as we would though cut it down to 1.7 seconds by the time I'm coming in to make my scheduled pit stop here at the conclusion of lap 11. We're going to come in and put on the hard compound tire, and I was surprised that Piastri stayed out because lap 11 was the pit window, and now we've got an opportunity to undercut the Australian and maybe be leading when he comes out of the pits here. We'll come in, get these hards on, very solid pit stop from the team. We'll get back rolling just a little over 2 seconds there, just shy of 3 seconds it was, as I nearly crossed that pit line. I actually did, I don't even get a warning for it now, and we come out just behind Kimi Antonelli. Max Verstappen, by the way, has done a great job working his way through traffic. We'll get an update on him later, but he's already in the top 10. Once this all cycles through, he'll be a net top 10. So it's very, very much looking good for him to clinch the championship here tonight, because pretty well Norris has to win, and like Verstappen has to score no points to even keep the hopes alive going into the penultimate round in Qatar with that sprint weekend. So right now, as it stands, it's going to be Verstappen clinching that title tonight, which is crazy to think that, 4-5 races ago, it was, of course, Norris making this crazy charge for the championship, and then it all changed, especially in Brazil, with his mechanical failure in the sprint and no points in the Grand Prix, while Verstappen dominated the entire weekend and returned to form. Oscar Piastri has made his pit stop. Norris has stayed out, and we haven't undercutted Piastri. He's actually been able to pull away from me. He has now gained over a second through the sequence of me pitting earlier than him, and I was quite surprised by that because I didn't really feel like I lost a lot of time. I felt like I ran a pretty good lap, and the gap was continuing to grow to my surprise. Lando Norris is now going to pit from the lead here at the conclusion of lap 13. This is such a quick pace Grand Prix, but as you can see, we're not gaining anymore. So whatever Piastri was lacking at the end of that first run, he has clearly found it, and he is now up to 4.3 seconds. I'd even lost a bit of time to my teammate of Aiden Jackson as we knocked the wall a little bit right there. Leclerc in 4th, Hamilton in P5 as we come to lap 15, and yeah, the gap's just kind of hovering around 4 seconds to Piastri, and I was running really hard laps at this point, and I just wasn't closing. Verstappen's now up into P5. He's in front of Lando Norris. Now, Norris did pit later than literally anybody else, so he's going to have a bit more grip and speed towards the end of this race here as we go through the grid here with 10 laps to go. Piastri out in front, and the gap still 4 seconds to myself, 3.2 to Aiden Jackson, and then you got to go back 8 full seconds to Leclerc, Verstappen, and Hamilton, who are all over each other, but surprisingly, no moves really being made right there. Alonso and Sainz, and there's Norris in P9, but he is moving forward. He is marching his way through the field, but we have got a battle up in front again as Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, they're 3 wide into the right hand of Verstappen's in the middle. Ferrari has formed a sandwich, and it's going to be Hamilton in front of this, Leclerc at the back, and Verstappen, he's going to try and muscle his way through Leclerc. Can he do it? Yes, he will. He certainly didn't make it easy for Leclerc to fight back right there, but they are going to scrap it out over these early laps after putting on the hard compound tire. As for myself, here down the long Vegas strip, you can see we are really gaining time on these long straightaways. We reel in multiple tenths per lap, but then Piastri really just pulls away through anything that's not a straightaway. So it's just kind of like a seesaw going back and forth. But now the gap to Jackson, that's the gap that's actually really starting to grow. We are starting to pull away from him in these final 10 laps of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. We have a chance here, as you see the gap Jackson has on Hamilton, who is broken away from Verstappen and Leclerc, that it really does look like for the first time ever we're going to score a podium for Konnersport, and on top of that, while we do that, we might score a double podium for Konnersport. What a night that would be, and a testament to how hard this team has worked. And this is so much fun this season, honestly, because with how close the R&D is, I mean, like I said, you don't really know what teams are going to show up on what weekend. There's weekends where we run 9th to 10th, and then you fast forward a weekend and you're running, 5th or 6th, and then you go back to 7th or 8th, and you're here fighting for a podium the next episode. So Lando Norris has climbed from P9 to now passing Verstappen for 5th, as Leclerc has dropped to 8th in these final 5 laps of racing. Actually showed that replay clip a lap early by accident, but you can see as well the gap to Piastri has grown to 5 seconds, and the gap to Jackson has extended to nearly 6 seconds. He is dropping off a cliff in these final 5 laps, and Lewis Hamilton is setting a pace that is capable of running down Jackson before this is over. So hold on, this double podium is at risk, because he is now only 5 seconds in front of Lewis Hamilton as we come to 3 laps to go. You would think 5 seconds over 3 laps, that's probably not going to be doable. But hold on, I think it might be. I think Hamilton might actually get to Aiden Jackson before this race comes to a conclusion. And we come to 3 laps to go at this point. The gap to Piastri now nearly up to 6 seconds. The gap between Jackson and Hamilton down to 4. Norris there in 5th, just in front of Verstappen still, as Leclerc is just barely hanging on to a top 10 effort right now. Nico Hülkenberg outside of the top 10. That's heartbreaking for him after a great start to this Grand Prix. Esteban Ocon as well had to repair his front wing. He lost a bunch of time. He is having a poor run to finish out this race now, and look at the gap again with 2 to go. It's now down to 3 seconds between Jackson and Hamilton, and my gap to Piastri is now going to hit that 6-second margin as we approach the final lap of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And although there's a lot of hype and excitement around our potential first podium in P2, there's a bit of nerves and anxiety around the Konnersport double podium, because Lewis Hamilton is on a charge. He is now on the final lap, closing into a 1.5 seconds of my teammate of Aiden Jackson, and that Las Vegas strip is super long. If Hamilton can even sniff the DRS on that Las Vegas strip, he could have a chance. We've got yellows on the front straightaway. On this final lap, it's a V-carb. It's either Hadjar or Liam Lawson. We're about to find out who that is as Piastri hits the strip, and so do I. Hadjar out of the race on the final lap. That could be beneficial to Aiden Jackson, because you cannot pass in a yellow zone, as Hamilton is within DRS range now of Aiden Jackson before they even hit the DRS detection point, which we just passed ourselves. Oscar Piastri has done it here in Las Vegas. Pure dominance from the get-go. Made the move on Leclerc for the lead early on, and Piastri for the 2nd time this season will take victory, and for the first time in our career and for this team, we get a podium in Las Vegas. We'll remember this one for a long, long time to come, but the party's not over there. Aiden Jackson leads Hamilton through the final curve, and he makes it a double Konnersport podium. Can you believe it? Podiums for both drivers, their first podiums of our careers. Unbelievable, as Max Verstappen officially locks up his 5th consecutive world title and beats what Sebastian Vettel was able to do, unfortunately, as a Sebastian Vettel fan. However, you cannot deny the greatness, as we are going to get to celebrate on the podium for the first time in our F1 career. Las Vegas, I I kid you not, this was the probably least expected track for me to score my first podium. This is one of my worst tracks by far in just racing in general, and it just, things worked out tonight. Grid penalties helped us. If we started P11 tonight instead of P7, I guarantee there was no chance we were going to score a podium, and we probably, aren't even really in the conversation with Aiden Jackson for even fighting with him to get a podium position. It's just incredible. And seeing the Canadian flag as well, that's awesome on the podium. I love seeing that as Piastri gets to celebrate with the two Konnersport Butler Global drivers. An absolute high for this new team that goes into Season 2 2026 regulation changes with high expectations to be able to do this more often and be a genuine threat for a championship. We are making the right decision staying with Konnersport, in my opinion. Antonelli ends up P11, nearly scoring points. George Russell, terrible night in 16th. As you see, the rest of the grid with Hadjar, of course, out of the race. 69 points, nice, between Verstappen and Norris, but that no longer matters as the championship is sealed. The Constructors' Championship, it's still close between McLaren and Red Bull. McLaren now ahead by 31 points. What an incredible moment for Konnersport Racing. It can't get any better than this. I'll see you guys in Qatar, where we try to repeat with a very high-speed track once again. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.